What if I told you that Mexico hides geographical secrets so bizarre they sound like science fiction? What if I said there's a place where waterfalls flow upward, where lakes vanish overnight, where mountains literally sing? You'd probably think I'm crazy. But by the time we reach fact number 50, you'll realize that Mexico isn't just a country. It's Earth's most mind-bending geographical playground. Some of these facts will make you question physics itself. Others will rewrite everything you thought you knew about our planet. Ready to have your mind completely blown? Let's dive into the impossible. Fact 1. The floating gardens that feed millions. Deep in Mexico City's forgotten canals, something impossible is happening. Ancient Aztec technology is literally floating, and it's still feeding people today. These aren't museum pieces. They're living, breathing chinampas that defy everything you know about agriculture. Imagine gardens that float on water, never need soil, and produce crops year-round without any fertilizer. The root systems actually purify the water beneath them while growing food above. This 600-year-old biotechnology makes modern hydroponics look primitive. But wait, that's just the beginning. Fact 2. Mexico's vanishing lake that appears overnight. One day, it's a desert where people harvest salt for a living. The next morning, it's Mexico's second largest lake. Lake Cuitzeo in Michoacán performs the ultimate vanishing act, completely disappearing during dry seasons, only to return overnight when rains hit. But here's the terrifying part. Entire villages built on the dry lakebed become underwater ghost towns when the waters suddenly return. Imagine going to sleep in your house and waking up on the bottom of a lake. And that's not even the strangest water phenomenon in Mexico. Fact 3. The desert that moves 17 meters per year. The Samalayuca Dunes aren't just sand. They're living mountains that walk across the landscape at 17 meters annually. These massive dunes have buried highways multiple times, forcing engineers to completely reroute major roads. But the most incredible part? They sing. When wind hits them at specific angles, these wandering dunes emit haunting, low-frequency sounds that can be heard for kilometers. It's like the desert itself is composing symphonies while it travels. Speaking of impossible sounds. Fact 4. The cave system, longer than New York City. Beneath Quintana Roo's jungle lies an underwater labyrinth so vast, it makes New York City look tiny. Sistema dos Ojos stretches over 82 kilometers of mapped passages, with chambers large enough to fit entire cathedrals. But here's what will blow your mind. Perfectly preserved Ice Age fossils lie scattered throughout these flooded caves. Giant ground sloths and cave bears that lived 11,000 years ago rest in crystal clear underwater tombs, waiting for divers brave enough to find them. And if you think that's mysterious. Fact 5. Mexico's giant crystal cave. Hidden 300 meters below Naka, Chihuahua, lies Mexico's giant crystal cave, a surreal underworld shimmering with selenite giants. Some crystals reach 11 meters in length and weigh 55 tons, making them the largest on Earth. Formed over 500,000 years in mineral-rich, superheated water, the cave is as deadly as it is beautiful. Temperatures soar near 60 degrees Celsius with 90% humidity, meaning humans can survive only minutes inside. It's Earth's most dazzling, dangerous crystal cathedral. Fact 6. A city slowly disappearing into its past. Mexico City performs a geological magic trick. It's sinking back into the ancient lake it was built on. The entire metropolis drops up to 50 centimeters per year as the clay lakebed compacts beneath 21 million people. Walk through the city center and you'll see the Metropolitan Cathedral tilting like a giant stone ship, slowly capsizing into Lake Texcoco's ghost. Buildings lean at impossible angles, streets crack and buckle, and entire neighborhoods gradually descend into the watery grave of an Aztec empire that was drained but never truly disappeared. And speaking of water, that defies explanation. Fact 7. windows into Earth's hidden ocean. The Yucatan Peninsula is like Swiss cheese. Over 6,000 holes punched through limestone bedrock reveal the world's largest underground river system. These cenotes aren't just pretty swimming holes, they're portals into a liquid underworld that the ancient Maya considered gateways to the afterlife. Dive into Gran Cenote, or Dos Ojos, and you're not just swimming. You're floating through underwater cathedrals with formations that took millions of years to sculpt. Some chambers are so large they could swallow entire city blocks, connected by passages that stretch beneath 3 Mexican states. But Mexico's geological wonders reach far beyond water. Fact 8. The canyon that makes the Grand Canyon look small. Forget everything you know about canyons. Mexico's Barranca del Cobre isn't just one canyon. It's 6 interconnected gorges, covering 65,000 square kilometers. The deepest plunge reaches 1,879 meters, making the Grand Canyon look like a crack in the sidewalk by comparison. The Chihuahua al Pacifico Railway performs death-defying acrobatics across this landscape, crossing 37 bridges and boring through 86 tunnels in what engineers call one of the world's most impossible train rides. Every curve reveals another impossible vista that seems designed to make humans feel very, very small. Fact 9. The greatest animal migration on Earth. Every autumn, 300 million creatures weighing less than paperclips accomplish something that puts GPS to shame. Monarch butterflies navigate 3,000 kilometers from Canada to Mexico's Michoacan forests without ever having made the journey before. They use the sun as a compass, Earth's magnetic field as a map, and genetic programming that would make supercomputers jealous. When they arrive, they cluster so densely on oyamel fir trees that branches snap under the weight of living orange snow. The forest hums with the sound of millions of wings, creating nature's most spectacular traffic jam. And now, something that challenges everything you know about deserts. Fact 10. The desert that's wetter than rainforests. The Chihuahuan Desert breaks every rule about what deserts should be. Stretching 362,000 square kilometers, this desert receives more rainfall than many rainforests and supports over 3,000 plant species, more biodiversity than most tropical paradises. At elevations between 1,000 to 1,500 meters, it captures moisture from both Pacific and Gulf weather systems, creating a desert that blooms more spectacularly than gardens. After rains, the landscape explodes into color displays that transform barren wasteland into nature's most impressive flower show overnight. Fact 11. The mountain that never sleeps. Popocatépetl rises 5,426 meters above Mexico like a smoking giant visible from space. This isn't just a mountain, it's a living, breathing monster that has been active for 730,000 years. Live webcams capture its daily mood swings as it puffs smoke rings, belches ash clouds, and occasionally throws volcanic tantrums that light up the night sky. The Aztecs named it Smoking Mountain, and it lives up to its reputation by smoking like a massive cigarette every single day, reminding 25 million people in nearby Mexico City that they're living next to a sleeping dragon. But Mexico's most incredible formations lie beneath the surface. Fact 12. Mexico's Amazon hidden in the mountains. Tucked away in Chiapas, the Lacandon rainforest packs 20% of Mexico's biodiversity into just 1.8 million hectares, making it one of Earth's most species-dense ecosystems. This tropical paradise hosts over 3,400 plant species, 450 bird species, and 124 mammal species in a living library of evolution. The forest receives over 3,000 millimeters of rainfall annually, creating humidity levels that turn the air itself into a living thing. And now, something that shows Mexico's incredible extremes. Fact 13. The second largest reef in the world. Stretching 1,126 kilometers along Mexico's Caribbean coast lies a living underwater metropolis that rivals any terrestrial city in complexity. The Mesoamerican Reef hosts over 500 fish species, 350 mollusk species, and 66 coral species in an underwater United Nations of marine life. This isn't just pretty scenery. It's a biological superpower that generates $15 billion in tourism while serving as a natural fortress protecting Mexico's coast from hurricanes. Swimming here is like flying through an alien world where fish have learned to create living architecture from their own skeletons. And Mexico's biodiversity doesn't stop at the reef. Fact 14. Forests that float in the sky. Between 1,000 to 2,500 meters elevation, Mexico's cloud forests exist in perpetual mist, like ecosystems suspended between earth and heaven. These mystical woodlands cover less than 1% of Mexico's territory, yet harbor 12% of the country's plant species. Over 600 bird species call Veracruz's cloud forests home. Fact 15. The Ring of Fire that built a nation. Mexico sits on one of Earth's most geologically violent neighborhoods, where four tectonic plates crash together like slow-motion bumper cars. The Trans-Mexican Volcanic Belt stretches 900 kilometers, with 14 active volcanoes that have spent millennia redecorating the landscape with lava and ash. This geological violence created Mexico's most fertile agricultural lands through centuries of volcanic fertilizer delivery. The volcanic activity is so constant that it shaped entire civilizations. The Aztecs chose their capital partly because volcanic soil grew corn better than anywhere else on Earth. Fact 16. From beach to glacier in one day. Mexico contains every climate, from tropical beaches to alpine tundra, within a single country's borders. You can start your morning sweating in 40 degrees Celsius heat at sea level, and end your day in minus 20 degrees Celsius conditions on Pico de Orizaba's glaciated peak at 5,636 meters. This dramatic elevation creates natural climate laboratories where species adapt to wildly different conditions within walking distance of each other. Mountain climbers use Orizaba as training for Himalayan expeditions because the altitude and conditions rival the world's highest peaks. Yet it sits in the tropics, surrounded by palm trees and beaches. Fact 17. The peninsula that's drifting away. Baja California is slowly divorcing itself from mainland Mexico at 6 centimeters per year due to tectonic forces along the San Andreas Fault. In 10 million years, this 1,200-kilometer peninsula will be completely separated, floating in the Pacific as Mexico's own island nation. The gradual separation created the Sea of Cortez, which Jacques Cousteau called the world's aquarium for its incredible marine biodiversity. The peninsula's unique desert ecosystems evolved in isolation, creating massive cardon cacti that live over 300 years and grow tall as 6-story buildings, living monuments to desert survival. Fact 18. The smoking gun of extinction. Buried beneath the Yucatan Peninsula lies the Chicxulub Crater, the smoking gun for the asteroid impact that killed the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. The crater's rim is marked by a perfect semicircle of cenotes, visible from space, like nature's own archaeological evidence of this catastrophic event. The asteroid that created this 180-kilometer crater was a mountain-sized rock that hit Earth with the force of 100 million hydrogen bombs. Scientists drill core samples from the crater that contain shocked quartz and melted rock from the moment when Earth's ruling reptiles were sentenced to extinction. But Mexico's water features get even more spectacular. Fact 19. Stone waterfalls that never flow. High in Oaxaca's mountains, Hierve el Agua creates the ultimate optical illusion, waterfalls made entirely of stone. Mineral-rich springs deposited calcium carbonate for thousands of years, building limestone cascades that look exactly like frozen waterfalls. These petrified cascades reach 30 meters in height while creating natural infinity pools at 2,400 meters elevation. The formations continue growing as hot springs maintain constant 22 to 27 degrees Celsius temperatures despite the high altitude. It's like discovering that nature has its own sculpture studio, where water learns to freeze itself into permanent art without ice. Fact 20. Nature's Skyscraper Canyon. The Grijalva River spent millions of years carving Sumidero Canyon into a natural skyscraper district, where limestone walls rise 1,000 meters vertically from the water. This 13-kilometer gorge through Chiapas contains geological layers spanning 136 million years of Earth's history, with fossils embedded in walls accessible only by boat. The canyon hosts multiple waterfalls, including the 120-meter Arbol de Navidad waterfall that creates its own weather system. Crocodiles bask on ledges while spider monkeys swing through canyon walls, creating a vertical ecosystem where different species live at different elevations. Fact 21. The ocean. That's really a lake. Jacques Cousteau called the Sea of Cortez the world's aquarium. And he wasn't exaggerating. This body of water contains 39% of all marine mammal species and 1/3 of all whale species in a relatively small area. The sea reaches depths of 3,000 meters with unique circulation patterns that concentrate marine life, like a biological funnel. Upwelling currents bring nutrient-rich deep water to the surface, supporting massive populations of sardines and anchovies that feed everything from dolphins to blue whales. Swimming here is like diving into a living encyclopedia of marine biology. Fact 22. Caribbean jewels in the middle of nowhere. Mexico's Caribbean coast contains the northernmost coral atolls in the Western Hemisphere. Banco Chinchorro stretches 144 kilometers as a coral atoll, creating its own ecosystem in the middle of the sea. The atoll's lagoon reaches 8 meters deep, with waters so clear that visibility extends 60-plus meters, like swimming through liquid air. Over 40 shipwrecks rest within the atoll system, creating artificial reefs that support marine life while telling stories of maritime history. The pristine conditions make this atoll a natural laboratory for studying coral reef evolution. Fact 23. Islands in the sky. At elevations above 3,000 meters, Mexico contains unique high-altitude lake ecosystems that exist nowhere else at such southern latitudes. Lake Zirahuén in Michoacán sits at 2,075 meters elevation, yet maintains tropical fish species despite its mountain location. These lakes contain endemic species that evolved in isolation, creating natural laboratories for evolutionary biology. But Mexico's extremes aren't just about elevation. The invisible waterfall. Cascada de Tamal creates an optical illusion where its 105-meter drop appears to flow upward from the canyon floor. Mist refracts light in ways that reverse the apparent direction of falling water, most pronounced during morning hours when humidity and lighting align perfectly. Local guides position visitors at exact spots where the waterfall appears to flow in multiple directions simultaneously, creating impossible water sculptures in midair. Fact 27. The desert oasis that moves. In Coahuila's Bolsón de Mapimí, a lush oasis migrates across the desert, following underground water sources that shift seasonally. This mobile ecosystem supports wildlife that has learned to follow the oasis's predictable movement patterns. Fact 28. Zone of Silence, Mexico's Bermuda Triangle. In the Mapimí Desert, there's a mysterious patch of land where radio signals die, compasses spin, and even meteors crash, more often than anywhere else. Scientists say it's due to magnetic anomalies and high uranium levels in the soil. But locals, they'll tell you stories of strange lights, time slips, and creatures that vanish when chased. It's been called Mexico's Zone of Silence. Fact 29. Underground energy powering the surface. Mexico contains over 3,000 geothermal features, from hot springs to geysers, created by the country's volcanic activity. These thermal features maintain constant temperatures year-round, while supporting unique extremophile bacteria that survive in conditions lethal to most life. Scientists study these bacteria for biotechnology applications, including enzyme production for industrial processes. The hot springs create oasis ecosystems in desert regions, supporting vegetation and wildlife that couldn't survive in surrounding arid conditions. Geothermal energy from these features generates 1,000 megawatts of electricity, making Mexico one of the world's top geothermal energy producers. Fact 30. Multiple worlds in one country. Mexico's elevation changes create distinct climate zones within short distances, where you can experience tropical beaches and alpine tundra in a single day's drive. This vertical diversity supports different ecosystems at different elevations, with species composition changing dramatically with altitude like biological elevator systems. Cloud forests exist in narrow bands at specific elevations where moisture-laden air meets mountain slopes. Species ranges shift with elevation, creating natural experiments in adaptation and evolution, while mountains generate their own precipitation systems independent of regional weather patterns. Fact 31. Time capsules preserved in stone. Mexico's caves contain some of North America's most important paleontological sites, with discoveries including giant ground sloths, cave bears, and saber-toothed cats preserved by constant temperatures and low oxygen levels. The caves serve as time capsules, preserving evidence of how Mexico's climate and ecosystems changed over millennia. Fact 32. Underwater rainforests made of living rock. The Mesoamerican reef system contains coral formations that grow in garden-like patterns, creating underwater landscapes as diverse as terrestrial rainforests. Marine biologists have identified coral species that form partnerships with specific fish, creating intricate ecological relationships that span generations. The reef's three-dimensional structure provides millions of microhabitats, supporting biodiversity levels comparable to tropical rainforests. Fact 33. Museums preserved in water. Mexico's cenotes and underwater caves contain the world's largest collection of submerged archaeological sites, where Maya ceremonial centers rest in perfect preservation. Underwater archaeologists have discovered complete pottery vessels, jade jewelry, and human remains in constant temperature and mineral content that prevents decay better than any museum. Fact 34. Architecture that grows stronger with time. In Veracruz's cloud forests, strangler figs create living bridges across rivers and valleys that grow stronger over time as aerial roots thicken and interweave like nature's own suspension cables. These bridges stretch over 100 meters while supporting their own ecosystems with epiphytes, orchids, and wildlife, creating suspended gardens above the forest floor. So there you have it. Mexico isn't just a country, it's Earth's most incredible natural playground where reality is stranger than fiction. If this blew your mind, smash that like button and subscribe for more mind-bending geography content. Share this with someone who needs to know that our planet is absolutely extraordinary. What was your favorite fact? Let me know in the comments below.